Hey everyone, it is Mr. Lambert coming at you with a lesson and notes today for Monday, January 11th, 2021. So today, if you read the little blurb on our assignment page, we are going to be working with creating and solving variable expressions, just like we did last week. This is going to be our week of practice. But today we're going to focus on a little something extra during our mini lesson today. We are going to be talking about using Fahrenheit and Celsius temperature conversions. So, true story. Back when I was about 19 years old, my mom and dad surprised my sister and I at Christmas time. So, my mom and dad, if you didn't know, they lived in South America for about 20 years. We lived in the country of Ecuador. And when I would go down to visit for Christmas, we usually got to do something kind of cool and interesting. So, the year that I was 19, when I came home at Christmas, we woke up on Christmas morning and I walked downstairs and we got through all of our presents, and my sister and I kind of were a little bit bummed because we got some cool stuff, but we didn't get like a big present. Everything was kind of small that year and inexpensive, and that was okay. But then mom and dad said, hey, check out the tree. And so as my sister and I looked at the tree, we realized, oh my gosh, there were two ornaments that were shaped like boats that had our names on them. So we get the boats, and there's a little piece of paper inside, and it said, surprise, we are going to the Galapagos Islands as a family for Christmas this year. So if you don't know, the Galapagos Islands are a set of islands off the coast of South America. It's actually where the scientist Darwin did his study of animals and actually led to his theory of evolution, if you've ever heard of that. So this was where that guy did that. It's actually made pretty cool movie called Master and Commander, which was a story about Darwin and about his. He was actually a ship captain back in the day for the English, so it's about his adventures there. So anyway, we're going to this really cool place, and I'm excited. Except for this is the early days of the internet, so I hop on the computer because we didn't have cell phones that had internet back then. And as I look up the temperature to see what I'm going to pack, because of course I've gotten this cool boat. I know I'm going to an island in the Pacific Ocean. This is going to be great, right? I am thinking tropical breezes because this is out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's off the coast of South America, so I know at least at the coast of Ecuador it's pretty warm. But then I checked the weather, and the San Cristobal Airport in the Galapagos is 30 degrees. So now I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a little more like the southern part of South America, which then goes on into Antarctica and is frozen year-round. Pretty horrible, and I'm not quite as excited. But then again, I know that I've seen pictures of this place, and it looks a little warmer than 30 degrees. So then I wait. This is 30 degrees, and it's got a little C by it. And I know enough of science to know that that means degrees Celsius, not the F, which is Fahrenheit, which is what I'm used to. But what does that mean? How do I convert the temperature in Celsius to the Fahrenheit scale that I'm used to so I can understand the temperature difference? Well, here we go. This is what we're going to work on today. We are actually going to work with the conversions between Fahrenheit and Celsius. And there's a simple algebraic expression that you can use to convert the two scales. So if I have the degree in Celsius, like I have in my problem here, I would take my degrees in Fahrenheit, I would subtract 32 from it, and then I would take that quantity and divide it or multiply it by 5/9. That will give me my temperature in degrees Celsius. So going backwards, if I have the degrees if I had the degrees in, that's what I would do if I have the degrees in Fahrenheit. If I have them in Celsius, like I do now, I'm going to multiply by 9/5 and then add 32 to it, and that should give me my degrees in Fahrenheit. So here we go. Here's actually what I did. If F equals the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit, remember we need to define our variable. In this case, our variable, this is an equation, not an expression, because I've got an equal sign, so I'm actually looking to find this value here. So if that's what I'm doing, I can use this simple equation. So let's work it out together. In this case, I've got 30 times 9/5 plus 32. And remember, if we're doing order of operations, we need to do our parentheses first. So 30 times 9, I'm going to rewrite here actually, F equals 30 times 9 is actually 270 I know that one off the top of my head, not because I'm really great at math, but we can put that guy over 1. I know that that's right because 3 times 9 is 27, and the 0 just gets tacked onto the end when we're dealing with powers of 10. I'm going to put that over 5 because if I'm multiplying straight across, 5 times 1 is 5, and I can put any number over 1 if it's a whole number. So I've got 270 fifths plus 32. Now I just need to do a little division. Now, I could actually write that out and run this here, but I'm going to do what I actually would do in my own head, which is deal with powers of 10. So 27 is really close to 25. I actually happen to know that 5 times 5 is 25. So 5 times 50 would be 250, which is pretty close to my answer here. So I know I'm going to need to go, let's see, 50 times there. And then 5, I would get 20 left over, and that's 5 times 4. So I know that 54 is the answer here. And if I take my 54 and add the 32 to it to get my answer, 2 times 4 is 6, and 5 plus 3, is 8. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my 30 degrees in Celsius actually equals 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And what does that mean? Well, the big thing that means is that my problem is not really so much of a problem. My first ideas of the Galapagos were right. It was sandy beaches. I actually got to swim with sea lions. Check it out. Got to sit on the outside of the boat and enjoy sailing through the South Pacific. Swim in crystal blue waters, coral reefs, crazy colored fish. It was amazing. So it was exactly what I was expecting. Just not what I expected when I saw that 30-degree temperature. All right, so let's try a couple of these together. As we're working here, I'd love it if you would pause the video because just watching me walk through it isn't going to help you so much. So pause the video as you go after we rewrite this, and then I would like you to try it on your own and then see how you do. So first deal, if it's 27 degrees Celsius outside, what temperature is it in degrees Fahrenheit? Well, in this case, I know my degrees Fahrenheit, which is what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm going to do over here. I'm going to put my F with the degree sign. And I don't really need to define this anymore because I do know that is going to be degrees Fahrenheit in this case. So my variable is kind of defined for me. I'm going to take my degrees Celsius and I'm going to multiply it by 9/5, add 32 to it, and I should be done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite my equation, and I am going to plug in the number that I know. So in this case, I know what the C is because I know it's 27 degrees Celsius outside. So I'm going to change that C with the degree sign to 27 times 9/5 plus 32. Now we just need to work out the math. We can do all this. So my Fahrenheit is going to equal, I'm going to go ahead and put this over 1 because I can do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to use a calculator, and I'm totally cool if you use a calculator while you work on these types of problems because we're not so much worried about you knowing exactly what the times tables are at this point. Really what we're more worried about is the fact that you can do this step-by-step process in order to get an answer in a problem. So, in this case, I'm going to take 27 times 9 and put it in my calculator. 27 times 9 is 243 over 5 plus 32 is going to equal my degrees Fahrenheit. So again, if I keep going on this way, 243 divided by 5, that's 48 plus 0.6, 48 and 6/10. Again, you can use the calculator for these, plus 32. Oh, my head's in the way. I'm going to come up this way. So remember, the 6/10 is in its own spot over here. Now we'll go to our whole numbers. 2 plus 8 would be 10, so that would give me 0 and a 1 over here. And 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 1 more would give me 8. So If I have a temperature of 27 degrees Fahrenheit, that is actually going to be equal, my F is going to be equal to 80.6 degrees, or 80 and 6/10 of a degree Fahrenheit if it is 27 degrees Celsius. There you go. That's all you got to do to figure these out. I know it's a kind of a longer process, and it's kind of complex because there are multiple steps to the process here. But again, use the calculator while you've got it, and then move on. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Let's try one more together before we head on into some independent practice and guided practice. So 82 degrees outside in Fahrenheit. Now we're going to switch to the Celsius temperature. So what we are looking for is Celsius. It's going to end up being this one. So our C equals, it's going to be whatever it is in degrees Fahrenheit, minus 32 degrees times 5/9. If you look at it, this is actually what we call the inverse, or the opposite of the same thing we do to find the degrees in Fahrenheit when we know Celsius. It's basically just the opposite operations. If you see here, instead of multiplying, we divide. Instead of dividing, we multiply. And instead of subtracting 32, we're going to add the 32 back in. So here we go. We're just going to rewrite this with the number that we know in here. So C is going to equal our degrees in Fahrenheit, which I know now are 82. So 82 minus 32 times 5/9. Pretty simple, right? This you can figure out. So 82 minus 32, that's easy. 2 minus 2 is nothing. And 8 minus 3 is 5. So I have 50 times 5/9. We could say 50 over 1, so we can multiply straight across. So I get 250 over 9, or 259ths. And then we could just simplify that by, again, taking your calculator. I've got 250 divided by 9. And that's going to give me about 27, and my 7 repeats, so I'm going to round that up to the nearest tenth, 27.8 degrees. So ladies and gentlemen, if we start with a temperature that is 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what we did here, we would have that as Celsius as 27.8 degrees. There you go. You converted Celsius and Fahrenheit. All right, there are going to be two right below here that you can try on your own. Please make sure that you're trying those on your own before you watch the videos, and then check and see how you do compared to what I did. If you got any questions, please make sure to let me know, because right after that, you've got some independent practice to work on today, and you will see some Fahrenheit and Celsius problems on there today. All right, guys, good luck with those. We'll talk to you soon.